Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of Bipolar Chats. I've got a panel of I think there's some gender balance. I love to talk about gender this morning, I guess, but I'm very excited to talk to these wonderful, beautiful people. They wake up very early to share some knowledge that they have. And please shout out to people. We're going to be sharing it. If you know anyone, we'll be always saying, okay, hi, what's going on? So today we are going to talk about understanding depression. And for now, I'm going to go around and then everybody's going to introduce themselves and then where they are, what their area of field is, and then we're going to start the conversation. Lennon, I'm going to start with you, my man.
Okay. Thank you so much, Herbert. Hello, everyone. My name is Lennon. I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm a finance guy. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be discussing this topic, which is kind of difficult, but yeah, I'm here to discuss this and engage with everyone. Thank you so much.
You already discovered that it's difficult before you even started. Come on, Lennon.
I was just going through it. This is, coming from an African background, that, this thing, it seems like it doesn't exist. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of difficult because a lot of people don't understand what is depression,
Okay, I get you. Let's not dive into the conversation yet. Zamile, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Zamile, and I reside in Cape Town, but currently I'm in KZN at home. I work within the youth development sector. So yeah, I'm into youth development mostly, and yeah, just the general academic, social and all that. So yes, that's me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sure. So we go to you, Linda.
Hi, everyone. My name is Linda. I'm a psychologist and I'm based in Pretoria. I work with children, adolescents, and adults as well. So I'm happy to.
So you generally work with everyone. Okay, let's say that. So, Swangile.
Yes, I do. Thank you for that.
Swangile, how are you doing?
Hi everyone, my name is Bongile. I'm based in the UK in Northamptonshire. I'm a social worker. Previously worked as a mental health social worker, currently working with older peoples, but largely involved with mental health as well in my line of work. Thank you.
Okay. Well, guys, we have had all of them in their credentials. I guess Lennon is just the only guy who doesn't do anything social working related. He does money stuff, but I'm sure at least depression at some point. So we understand how he's dealing with his depression. Okay, so we're gonna dive into the conversation right now. So I think, I believe everybody has got an African background somewhere somehow, and this topic has never been. You don't speak about depression in African context. Okay, I would like to believe, I can't say 100% for sure, that even in a biblical or in Christian perspective, depression is kind of a demon to some people. You have to be prayed for. But let's try to understand from your experiences, what really do you understand by depression? Is it a mental health, or let's start by defining depression for effect. And if we can actually then dive a little bit and understand whether it's actually a mental health, is it mental illness, or what is the difference between the two? Okay, who wants to start explaining this? Lennon?
Okay.
Okay.
I can go with a bit of a technical angle at it. So depression is a mood disorder. So it's related to how your mood fluctuates, or the kind of mood that you're in most of the time, to put it in layman's terms. So it's a low mood where you are consistently low, or you are tired, you don't have interest in things, so there's different symptoms that come a kind of give you a profile of what depression is. And the the most prominent thing being related to the mood being a low mood.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's more or less the technical term on it.
Okay, so if I wake up and I'm in a low mood, I'm just low. Can I say I'm depressed?
It would then go into how long it has been going on for, the intensity of it.
Okay.
So, are you consistently in a low mood?
Low
I
mood.
mean, you're always sleeping, you're always tired, you don't want to eat, or you are eating all the time, or it's then different little factors that come into play. So, how long is it? How intense is it? Is it triggered by a specific
Effect.
event? Because sometimes depression happens, it's acute. It happens because you've lost someone. It happens because you're going through something. And then for a certain period, you are depressed. And then it kind of passes. And then if it becomes long, and then for 2 years, you're feeling more or less a lower mood, or for 6 months, or for this long, then it starts to be categorized into a
Yes.
diagnosis.
Okay. I didn't know it has to do with time. Lennon, I know you count money and money is not enough at the moment. Things are
Yeah.
not okay, maybe. Can we, how
I,
do you understand depression, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, looking back at 2020, I would
Mhm.
define it as, I mean, the way we were living in 2020. We just came from a bumpy mood, and then all of a sudden we are in lockdown. I mean,
Okay.
I feel that depression also can be triggered by that, because we are used to we are people. We are used to walk around, go to work, meet people, talk to customers. But I mean, all of a sudden, then you can't do that, and you're kind of closed in your own room or in your own house. You can't go anywhere. You're seeing the same people every day, and I mean, I think it also brings you to depression, because there are certain things that a human being is used to do, and now you can't do it. So
Okay.
it also triggers, and because this comes with the circumstances where you are, what you're doing, what you used to do, and you can't do it. It's just like someone who's used to stay in the rural areas where you can walk freely, and then you bring someone to a place where they can't even go out of the gate. I mean, it can trigger depression as well. That's my understanding of depression.
Okay. So someone says that this is not really on the comments. It says this is now how parents have to understand when they have to lock their kids indoors. I think from 2020, 2021, parents understand what it feels. Sebangile.
I was going to say, from what Lennon has said, I think it's very important to differentiate just having a low mood and feeling sad from having low mood that is causing you to have low motivation. You're constantly tired, constantly sleepy. So I know 2020 was a hard year, but I think sometimes the word depression is used very loosely sometimes to say, oh, I'm feeling so depressed, I'm feeling so depressed, but it's not actually depressed. You just have a low mood. I think it's Linda did kind of say a lot of the symptoms. It's really now where you really cannot wake up. You spend days and hours in bed. But a lot of us in 2020, we were just bored, and that's my view. We were bored because we can't go out, but we were still waking up. We were
Yeah.
still working from home. We were still, but in that 2020, there were people that were not able to actually get up at all. They
Okay.
were not able to do daily things, what we call daily living activities, where it becomes really difficult. So I think it's very important to differentiate and know what just being low and having a low mood, which is linked to your chemical imbalances and all of that.
Okay. So I just saw this comment. I just laughed. I think you can, you can saw it. You were
Leanne
first, please.
Leanne is saying, ignoring the fact that the one is depressed, and say low mood contribute to depression. Okay, which is true.
Okay.
Um, the I think there's another one before this.
Yes, the other one. I think I like even long distance cause long depression. I think she has some experience. I mean, Zanele, what's your take? Can you explain how you understand about this?
So from my end, I think so. The first thing is you asked in terms of if depression is a mental illness and stuff, and
Yes.
yes, from my end it is. I think it's just then in a matter of, because I really believe that a lot, like our brain carries a lot of what we do, who we are, all our daily activities. So now
Mm-hmm.
when this part of your being is not okay, I think then it affects other things, your physicality and all those things. So it starts here, but then the contribution is throughout the whole body. And I
Okay.
think also what Usmogel was saying in terms of being in a state where you have to sort of understand whether it's just you just being sad, or it is actually depression. Because I like, on the other hand, I do think at times we loosely use, the word depression, but I also
Depression.
think it also speaks. Yes, yes, but I also think it speaks to the persistency of it. If you find yourself, because some day you just wake up not okay because, oh my god, I have to go to work and it's very cold today. So there's just those basic things, but I think also there's those things that you can feel that, okay, this is a constant thing that is happening, and I think that's when then we need to take note to say, okay, I've been feeling like this for a long time, and what is it actually affecting in my being. So from,
Okay.
yeah, I understand it from that point. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So if I wake up every day and I'm just some lazy guy and I just feel like not going to work, I can just go like, "Ah, I'm depressed. It's still happening for every time, and all day I just don't feel like doing anything, and I can spend the whole entire week in blankets, and everybody can actually believe this, isn't it? But I don't know, like really, like I'm trying to factor out the fact that if you are at home, or you are staying with people, or you're trying to explain to your boss that this is what's going on, then how then do I differentiate from this loosely saying that maybe I am, or try to convince someone that I'm depressed? What can I say? Because I think it's not so easy to say, oh yeah, I'm depressed. Of course, I might be having challenges to wake up, because then what I can be said you are lazy, or you can be, or you are demonic if it's in a Christian perspective. But then how then do I have to, or people really believe, or then do I need to find or seek medical attention? What would be the pointers there?
Okay, so typically, if you live with other people, right?
Yes.
If we ask people what kind of a person is Herbert, right?
Mhm.
Um, they will tell us he's this kind of person, this kind of person, this kind of person, right? Uh, if you think about a biblical character or any person who suffers depression, there's a way that they are normally, and then when there's something that is not right with their mental health, the
Mhm.
people around them pick it up. So people will tell you, he's been really withdrawn, or he's been really quiet, or the way he's talking nowadays, there's something different about him,
Okay.
right? I think the biggest danger we face is people who self-diagnose using the internet, because the internet is now freely available to anyone, and that's how we come to a place where um, people are loosely using the word "I'm depressed" because I have one, two, three, or whatever. So people come with ready-made diagnosis for themselves, and sometimes it's not even that. So there is a way that your body always tells you these things, like Zamile
Okay.
is saying. Your body is designed to keep you alive, believe it or not. No matter how tempting the junk food is, your body is designed to keep you alive. So when something comes up, when an emotion comes up in your being, it is a reflector of something is not right.
Mhm.
Right? If you pay attention to your emotions, if you pay attention to what your body is saying, you start to see patterns, as Zamile is saying. You start to see aware that this is going on for a bit too long. So it's not just, it's in connection with other things. I've lost interest in doing things that I used to love doing. I have poor concentration. I'm very undecided most of the time. I'm thinking about death and suicide. I am feeling worthless. I'm guilty. I am this, I am that. So there are things that you start to see as a pattern, and they start to kind of become a bit more consistent. Then you have to seek medical attention, or you have to speak to someone about it. It's not so loosely saying, "Oh, I'm depressed." That happens in conversation, and you can't police people about that. But it also comes to, you need to constantly be paying attention to what your body is telling you, because our thresholds for any experience differ. So what is depressing to you is not depressing to the next person.
Okay. So
Can I add something?
okay, sure. Go ahead, Zamil.
No, so I just wanted to add onto what Ulinda was saying, and I think in connection to your question in terms of how do you then maybe explain, for an example, to your boss that I'm depressed. I think maybe this is not an answer, but I think also in a way, like Ulinda was saying, in terms of there's a threshold in terms of like in a way which people can carry things. And to an extent, I really believe that it becomes very unfair if I have to go maybe to my boss and try to explain so that they can believe that I'm depressed. So I think it also then it goes back to the fact of listening to your body. Like how your usual day in day out. You know how you usually how your life is. So by listening to your body and to your head, okay, I'm really not feeling okay, and then trying to. So I think it takes the honesty from the individual first, but I don't think that it should be for me to make people believe that I'm actually depressed, because I think it becomes unfair, because sometimes you're going to tell someone something, they'll be like, but I went through this the other time, and then now they're just disregarding how you actually really, really feeling. So yeah.
Okay. Sibongile, do you have anything to add to this, or
No, I think Linda really explained it quite well.
Okay.
That to kind of have that understanding where it goes from having a week where you're not feeling okay to when it becomes something that we can now call, this can be diagnosed as like clinical depression or whatever.
Okay. So
I think, sorry, Alex, I think the challenge that we're having as people is the people around us. When I feel depressed and I try to explain to the next person, because I mean depression it comes in different ways, because sometimes I might be depressed, but I'm a happy person. I'm talkative and I always talk. But when I say that, guys, I'm feeling this, people don't take it serious, and it takes long for people to realize that, okay, this person, okay.
Wait, Lenon, sorry to cut you there. I'm confused. You can actually be depressed and a happy person?
Yes, of course you can, because I mean I'm a happy person, but deep inside I'm burning. I mean, because I know that I'm a happy person, and if I say it out to Herbert, knowing me that I'm a happy person, Herbert will say, but Lennon, I mean, this can't be. So that's the thing that is killing a lot of people. And that when we try to think about it, the moment that the people, a lot of people try to commit suicide, or they commit suicide, that's when we say, oh, but this person always used to speak about it, and they used to talk about it, but we ignored it. I mean, recent cases that happened recently in the past week or two, where a person jumped off the 10th floor building, and after that, then story started to come out that this person tried to do it. I mean, 2 years ago, this person tried to do it 3 years ago again, but people ignored it because, I mean, this person is an episode, and we just say, okay, it's one of those things. So that's the challenge we are having. When someone is depressed, we don't take it serious until it gets worse or we lose the person. So that's the challenge that we're having.
Okay, I like what Charlie will probably say. I think I would agree very much. That's not being happy. You're acting happy, but not happy.
Okay, you can put it that way. You can put it that way, because
yeah,
it's trying to act happy.
Probably we can say fake it until you make it, no? kind of thing.
Yes.
I think in mental health we call those functional depressive people, or functional depression, where you're still able to go about your day to day. You're able to wake up and go to work and do your job, but it doesn't affect your daily
Mm.
living activities, if you like.
Mm.
And that's
How
very
dangerous are these
difficult.
people?
It's very difficult to diagnose them and work with them, because people always look at. I think it then goes into the social definition of somebody who's okay
Yeah.
is they go to work, they
Mm-hmm.
are doing everything they do, so it's
Yeah.
very difficult to diagnose. And then it goes into a different conversation then about our societal norms and
Yeah.
definitions of
Yeah.
what being okay is, what being fine is. But hopefully we will touch that in as we go on in the conversation.
Yeah. But so we can say these people are symptomatic to depression.
And they're actually dangerous, like what Sibongile said.
Yes,
They
they
are
are
very
more
dangerous
dangerous. You can't
because
really tell whether they are depressed or not. And it's very difficult even if they tell you that they are depressed or not, because the signs and symptoms that you guys actually have explained, I can't find them. Because they are already the same people that we were talking to before and after they are actually having depression. Anyway, so I want to deviate a little bit. So now that you have explained maybe someone has some depression, are there any alternatives to traditional treatments for depression? Maybe we can point out like what could be, let's say I discover, like before I actually go there, let's say I discover that my brother, my friend, my whatever or relative is depressed, right? Or has depression to a certain extent. So what's my immediate action? What do I do? Probably this is different based on the country or where you are, what are the services. But what do I do before I go to the authorities or whatever? How do I, what's my next action, I guess?
Can I just ask what you're calling traditional methods of depression?
Yes, exactly. This is like I think when we talk about the I mean prescribed. Let's say about you have to do kind of a lot of activities. You have to go out, interact with other people sometimes, or find something to do, or avoid being alone, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know whether it's actually treatment or they're just trying to make you avoid to have depression or whatever. But these are the kind of things that they kind of recommend you to do. Is there like a medicinal way, like you have to take some? But I think they're depression pills or something like that. So from these traditional ways that we already have, are there any other alternatives that comes probably naturally or something that you can recommend? But before we go there, I wanted to understand exactly that what should I do afterwards when I discover that my friend, my partner, or someone is depressed? What's my next port of action?
Okay, so if you come to a place where you think someone is depressed, first, I would say the first port of call is to actually have an honest conversation of what you're seeing and what this person is experiencing, because the conversation then gives a bit more insight into what's going on. So, take for example, if you have a spouse and they've just had a child and they're going through, and you're looking at this person, they don't want to touch the child, they don't want to be near the child, and you're seeing some things that are not okay. And you're starting to pick up that, okay, this could be related to something I read somewhere about postpartum depression, where after you've had a child, you're depressed. You just don't want to relate with the child. So you then have to have an honest conversation where you acknowledge where this person is. Because as long as I'm coming to you and saying, Herbert, you've got a headache. Herbert, you've got a headache. Here's a Panadol. Take it. You're going to say, no, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
Until it is a problem to you, until you're seeing it the same way I'm seeing it, all I
Okay.
can do is stand and support you where you are. Because even if I force you and take you to the hospital,
Mhm.
we will get medication, we will do this. And if you don't take the medication, where are we? which is why we also advise against, if you're going to take medication only, it's a bit of a problem. You need to take it with some sort of therapy that's going on, because you are just treating a symptom. You're not getting to the bottom of the issue. What is going on? So you have to have honest conversation. You have to hear where this person is, hear where you are. Are you understanding each other? Are you on the same wavelength? It's not an easy conversation. It's not always easy and straightforward to get through. Some people deny it and they'll say, no, I'm okay. And
Okay.
leave me alone. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to piggyback on that as well, I think it's really important to understand that there's no one size fits all when it comes to depression. We can have the same diagnosis, but we can experience it very differently. So for me, it's really understanding how your diagnosis of depression is affecting you and impacting you, because then that determines what line of treatment you take. So whether it's medication, you can go for the mood stabilizers, and if we're going to get technical about it, or whether you're going to go for even natural remedies. There are some natural remedies that work for some. Therapy can be formal or informal. I think when we say therapy, especially in our African communities, there's a little bit like, it's seen as a rich people's thing where, only rich people or Western kind of a thing. So, but therapy could be you and me having a conversation where I'm really just, getting in touch with my inner self, with my inner emotions. So therapy doesn't have to be formal. It can be informal. But the baseline for me is really understanding what your depression is, how it's affecting you and impacting you, and being really honest. I think honesty is the best. I think we will come to it later on, so maybe I won't say that now. We will discuss it a bit later. But it's really understanding what kind of depression you have, because there are different types of depression as well. It's not just, there's depression that can come with psychotic symptoms. So you can't say, oh, depression, get this medication or go for therapy and whatnot, and ignore the medications. So you really have to understand what kind of depression it is.
Okay. Samila, do you have anything to contribute?
I think it's a combination of what Ulinda and Noswangile were saying in terms of, I think especially when it comes to a close person, whether it's your brother, like you were saying, or a friend, and maybe especially when in terms of they don't feel comfortable as yet, maybe to seek for professional help. So I think being considerate also is very helpful, and not projecting, like Usman was saying, not projecting your understanding or your way of dealing with the issue to the person, because I think that can be very, very dangerous. And I think also one of the things that we do is that when someone comes to us and say, I'm depressed, we want to take all in. And at times we find ourselves not giving even good advice, but because, we're like, I'm here for you, so I think also we need to be honest in terms of that, to say, right now, I think I've reached my depth as a friend. It's important that we look at other alternatives so that I do not lead you astray, because it's a very sensitive thing. A person's mentality is very sensitive. So it's also important for me as a person offering the help to be honest to the person and say, I can help conversations and all that, but there's other fields that I don't want to tap into because I might put you in more danger, and then try to just prescribe some other things that can be helpful when seeking for professional.
Okay. So I think we've lost Samila there, but I think she's going to join once she was making quite great points. I think all of you guys agree. So now that I've discovered that, okay, I've done some conversations and stuff, but one of the points that we wanted to talk about that I mentioned was like, how then can you determine whether illness is causing depression or depression is causing the illness? Or I'm trying to understand this question for myself. To actually explain, but I don't know if someone got what I mean. Please, Lennon.
Actually, I had the same question there. So this one I'll put it to the guys, because I also want to sum you up on that one. So I'll push it into Linda and Sbongile and Samile. for that one.
Okay.
I'll be a spectator on this one.
No, do you guys want to check?
I think it's one of those questions like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, chicken eggs question, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, your natural. Another thing that I think, I'm not sure who mentioned it, that it's related to your chemical balance in your body, right? So depression is related to your chemical balance in your body. So your mood is regulated by release of certain chemicals in your body and reuptake of that, of some other chemicals. So sometimes you get a situation where depression happens on a super extreme level, where a person is, one moment they're super happy, the next moment they're super low. So they commonly call that bipolar, manic depressive. So in that case, the chemical imbalance is happening there. This chemical imbalance can be triggered by, you are sick and you're taking certain medication, and that medication does something with your chemicals in your body. Then there's an upset, and then you start to see, even when you read pamphlets of certain medications, they'll tell you side effects may be depression, or whatever mood enhancing chemicals are in this drug. So it can happen that you're taking medication that affects that balance. It can happen that sometimes it's your diet. Sometimes it's, you are sick. You're a person who typically, your personality type is that I never get sick. I must not get sick. And then now you're sick, and then now you have to deal with this. Then it's hurting your ego. Then it's other things that are compounding. So important to note, depression just doesn't come on its own.
Okay.
It's got compounding factors that come with it. It's got other things that it exists. It doesn't exist in isolation. So consider it that way.
Okay. Any other points, experts in this field? Was
I think Linda has really said it all. It's a case of chicken and egg. What came first?
Okay.
You can have depression and then have other illnesses, or you can have illnesses and then it comes with depression.
I kind of like what everybody is saying when Linda starts talking, and then I ask the question. I think Linda has just said it all. Next time when I ask a question, you're the last to answer.
She's the last one.
Yes, she should be the last to answer. Everybody goes, I totally agree with Linda, because I think we've got a transcript of Linda here. That's running through.
I like a comment here, but that Leanne said, just watching someone drinking coffee and you are hungry.
Yeah.
Sibongile is actually called depression on us. Like, yes, that one. Watching someone drinking coffee while his one is angry is a contributor to depression. So Sibongile
is one of the contributors of depression this morning.
Yeah. So the question comes up now that like what Ian is saying, can you be depressed? I mean, let's say you seeing your friends doing things in life, and you are doing everything you can. I mean, can you get, like, I mean, you're doing everything you can. You've got a good job, and I mean, you've got good money, but things can't just come together. And you see your friends, and they're doing things. I mean, is it a contributor for depression as well, guys?
Should I answer?
So when we say your friends are
say
doing
that again.
Now, I was saying, let's say, for example, you are in an environment where your friends are doing well in life, and you also you've got a good job, and I mean, you also get some good money, and but your things can't seem to come together. I mean, you can't seem to put the things together. I mean, is it also a contributor for depression? That's a question.
For me, I think anything can cause depression because we are all built differently. A situation where I may be able to rationalize and say, you know what, my things, time and chance happen to us all. It will
Yeah.
happen when it happens.
Yes,
It will
yes,
happen
yes.
when it happens.
Mhm.
And then for some people, they don't necessarily have, let me say, the software to be able to deal with that. That might actually affect them. So I would say, yes, it can. Because I don't think you can narrow it down to say this can
These
cause
are things
depression,
called
that can
depression.
cause depression, because somebody said it earlier, we are all built differently. What may
Mhm.
be a big deal for you might not necessarily be a big deal for me. So anything, as far as I'm concerned, can cause you to have depression.
Okay, that's cool. Linda,
Yeah. Okay. So,
Zamela,
um,
did you have something to say? Sorry, did you have something to say?
No, no, I was going to say the same thing Swogil was saying. Yes.
Ash, it's very difficult. Now we change the order. Everybody agrees with the other. No, guys, are you sharing something that I
No,
don't know? Like, okay, this is the answer, guys. This is the answer. I'll show.
no.
And then everybody just says, okay, I agree with this one. No, but that's not. I think I agree with
No,
you.
I think
You can go ahead, Samile, please.
no. I at first I just wanted to ask a question in terms of, so when we say your friends things are coming together, so like what things are we talking about? Because I think also it also then goes to the understanding, because at times it's very easy to look at things from afar and say, oh, that is
Okay.
going well and that is not going well. And I think maybe we get to this, but I think also someone was saying there was a question in terms of how does then social media in a way, because I think at times it's similar you are in an
Similar, yes.
outside position, but
Similar.
then but you're looking at something from afar and you don't know the all the ends of it, so I think also that is
No,
very
no. I
important to
think
sort of
you can
understand.
just. I think you can just dive into that question because I wanted to really redirect that question to say how does then social media contribute to depression because of we hear this every day. I think this is now one of the, according to me, my study in my head. There is no. I didn't read any paper about this, but I feel like, or I've seen that social media contributes. I think to a higher percentage right now these days, especially in the young ones, that they compare their lives with what they see on social media. Um, I think, Azamele, you can go ahead with that point if you have more things to add, or
You
if
can
it's
answer
okay.
how does social media
Yeah, you can answer that. Yes,
sorry.
yes, you can answer that.
um I I think from okay, guys, please support me if I go straight. But I think also besides what especially maybe young people get exposed to when they go to social media, I think it's
Yeah,
also it's the thing is social media is one-sided in a way, it feeds you, and especially if someone is in a state of, when they are in a state of they can't really talk to someone, or they find themselves in that dark mental state. Social media becomes a very easy way to escape. But then the thing is, it's the influx of so many things that are coming in. Like, I think, I don't know if Linda was saying in terms of the internet, like people can go to the internet and it's so easy to find everything. And so I think it contributes then in such a way that if, even when people get all this information and all these pieces, how to live life, how to look, how to think, at times they don't have an actual human being on the side to actually bounce the things off and say, you know what, this the thing, I saw this. So there's a limit in terms of bouncing off the things that you learn from the internet, but the influx of so many things that you get in such a way that at times you don't know which is which. That today this is how you're supposed to do things, the next day this is how you're supposed to do things. So now you in that confusion in terms of what exactly am I supposed to maybe be living my life and stuff like that. So I think it contributes in terms of that, in terms of it gives a lot, but at times our generation, we hardly have people around, actual people to actually
okay.
say, let's talk about this,
This is,
assist me in
you need
terms
to
of this.
accept
So yeah.
this and you need to stop that. Okay. So does anyone has any other point, or you all agree
It
to
was,
Zamila?
yeah, I agree, of course. But maybe just to add on to say that I think social media increases the already societal pressures that we have. You know, if you're of a certain age and you're seeing people, you know, living a certain lifestyle and a certain standard, and you're spending so much time on there, it may give you feelings of inadequacy, you know, to say, I thought I would have done that, you know, because people come on there and, you know, bought my first car at 23 and it's a BMW that, you know, my father never even owned, and you sort of think, what am I doing with my life? And you have that FOMO, you know, fear of missing out, and so you feel inadequate, you feel like you're not achieving anything, and that in itself can cause distress, can, you know, so it was just really adding on to what Zamide said.
Okay. Lennon, I know you agree with everyone.
Okay, and now I was going to read Lloyd Lungu's question there, where it says, "Is there a difference between stress and depression?" I was going to ask this question as well.
I saw that, but at this moment, I think Linda, because nobody has been agreeing, maybe she will agree with everybody.
I agree.
You agree with everyone.
I agree, but I just want to add.
Yes.
I just want to add. Earlier, you mentioned that mental health. What I mean in African societies and whatsoever.
Yeah.
We neglect to reframe and say that all these things are not new. There's nothing new under the sun.
Okay.
There used to be, these things have been there. There's a different name for them where we come from. There's a different name in the Bible for them. There's a different name for them in whatever frame of reference you're coming from.
Okay.
So at this point in time, we're sitting in a space where social media is a huge frame of reference. And remember, you're seeing a photograph or out of a person's whole life. So this is a point in time, they're dressed like this, and you cannot see that after they take this photo, they take off this dress, they put it back, it's not theirs. You know, they are posing by a car, there's no way to tell that this is actually their car. So we then start to, and it's human for us to take this information that we have, let's use this information, let's work with this information, and then I'm going to make decisions based on this information. And yet it's incomplete information. And we then sit with pressures. So our frames of reference, fortunately, previously, when we had in the African societies, there was an aunt that was designated to speak to girls at a certain age, to guide boys at a certain age, and whatsoever. We're guided by social media. This aunt could go back and forth and tell us, oh, this is not right, this is okay, this is whatever. Now with social media, it's one way. A lot of people have multiple personalities in the sense that there's a cyber personality, and then there's a person who exists personality. So if you read up a bit on what a cyber personality is, you then actually discover that a lot of people are living with a dissonance between who they really are and their cyber personality. So they've got a reputation to maintain here, but here they're actually another very different person. Then that creates another conflict, then that's another dysfunction on another level. So it then feeds into everything, then it becomes a stress, and then it becomes a depression, and then so it just kind of all gets messed up in there.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea to make you the last person to speak, because I agree with you. So we're not sharing.
So
what
if I said there's one thing I don't agree with? It's not really related to. It's probably a topic for another day for this.
Okay, please. I would be very glad. Please mention it.
I don't necessarily think that it's two personalities. I think I just think what we're calling a cyber personality is an extension of what somebody really is. They're just finding an opportunity, but that's a conversation for another day.
Oh, it's a conversation for another day. Okay, we're going to have another conversation, guys. Okay, Zamile, you wanted to add something. Can you go ahead?
No, I just wanted to ask a question to Linda in terms of, so does she think if a person, like in terms of cyber personalities, does then if maybe a person feels like there's a side of themselves that they need to maintain, an image on social media that they need to maintain, does that then make it difficult for someone to actually, in reality, to actually go and seek help So, like, do you think that having a persona to sort of uphold online, does it then affect someone's actual reality to say, okay, in reality, I need to go and look, whilst I can pretend online, but I need to go and seek for help?
I
Then
think
he's saying, I want a conversation now.
I think it does impact the help-seeking behavior. So if I'm a certain way, what will people say? I mean, ordinarily, there are people who, what will people say if they see me going to a clinic for antidepressants or for this or for that? So it does create a conflict on a certain level. Yeah. So it can inhibit, it can, there are people who are making it stylish. There are people who sometimes they just need permission from one person. I think on Twitter recently there was trending, "Hi, my name is, and I suffer from depression." So there are people, and then because these are people who are role models to certain individuals, then it becomes okay. It's okay for me to speak about it. Then
So I like
people.
Sorry, Linda, I just cut you there. I just like what Stanley says. I think the Forex guys are giving us stress with their Ferraris.
Bitcoin.
Honestly, it's true. I mean, these guys are killing us hell, eh?
They're killing us.
Now, sorry, Ebet. I just wanted to put something up there that, I mean, these forest guys are giving us stress, like what Stan is saying. And now you get your phone calls from your relatives saying, why can't you do this, what these guys are doing? I mean, you are out there somewhere. Why can't you do the same? I mean, what's the difference? It's someone that you went to school with who's doing this and this thing, but why can't you do the same? It's Forex, going to Forex. So I like what Stan's point there. I mean, this is like giving us help.
Yeah. We are more like we are running out of time, and this conversation is kind of deviated, I say. But I want to tackle this question. I want to tackle this question. Is there more likelihood of one getting depression based on their sex, whether they're male or female? If so, which one could it be? I really want to know this question.
Can I go first?
Yes. Also mention the fact that there was.
Linda's burning a bit.
So
okay.
No, so I don't think that there's. I personally don't think that it's more, because that question is based on that women suffer from depression more than that's the perception.
Yes.
But the reason why we have more statistics of women with depression is because when we are looking at our societies, especially in our Black African communities that we are, that we live in, what it means to be a man is to be strong, to be resilient, to be, a provider. But we forget that it's okay for me as a woman if my relationship breaks down today, I can cry and sleep for days. But a man is not allowed to do that. It's just like, we've got so many women, why would you? Come on, pick yourself up, be a man. So a man is not allowed to cry. A man is not allowed to show that they're struggling. They should just keep going on. So men don't go and ask for help. Men will not go and look for help and say, actually, I am at my lowest. So it makes it seem as if women are more prone to depression or mental health issues than men are. But I think it's just that patriarchy has made it like that.
Okay. Oh, I don't know, but Linda, please tell us.
Yeah, I think also it.
You agree with Sibongile?
I agree with Sibongile, yes. And depression presents very differently. I mean, there are people who will lie in bed and be sleeping endlessly. And then there are people who go on the other extreme. They are now lifting weights and they're doing this and they're doing that because then they're trying to push, I want to feel good about myself. I want to get out of this. It's important to note that depression is a very dark space. So you are in there and you think I'm alone, and people shouldn't be able to see. They should be able to just see the outside of me. So there are people, it presents very differently. And they'll say, it doesn't really look sick. And that's the thing with mental health. People will say, she looks very normal, she's fine, when in actual fact, we can't open our brains and just have it all there hanging out. But it presents very differently. It looks very different in men. It looks very different in women. Not that it occurs more in one gender or the other.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Hey, Leonard, would you go and say that I am depressed, or would you open up about?
I don't think I will, Herbert. I mean, I'll feel a lesser man. So sometimes that's why, I mean, maybe most of men stuck inside, because women talk too much, and I mean they show the emotions, and that's why we've got these statistics like what Sibongile said, that a lot of women suffer from depression, of which I feel is the other way around. I mean, men suffer inside, and we tend to do like weightlifting, some of us we run, so just to get out of the depression.
So we don't know whether your running is for depression or it's for.
I don't know.
Now we don't know.
I don't know. I must find out. Yeah.
Samuel, do you want to add something?
No, I think what I can just add is that I really think it's very important that even if like we start very small, especially like whilst we're talking about how men can't talk or don't talk, I think we need to really start practicing, even if like asking your brother or your guy friend, are you okay? Because it starts like that. It allows them to actually speak up, because I really think it's important, and it's very, I always feel it's very, this mentality of, I'm a man, I'm going to seem weak, is very, very dangerous. So I think even as us, as people who actually understand or have an idea of what depression is, your close people, ask, are you okay? How was school? How was your day? It sort of creates a pattern, for them, and it allows them to actually find themselves in a space where they can actually start talking about things.
Okay,
I think
guys.
it has to go beyond that, where we are changing what the definition of being a man, what being a man is, because for them to still open up, I may go and ask them, but they probably won't open up. We see these discussions on social media every day, and they kind of go, I've seen discussions on Twitter where they will say, oh no, I'm not going to tell my girlfriend that I'm not feeling okay, then that doesn't make me look like a man. And even, Len just said that, it makes me less of a man. But who has defined, who has given us this definition of what it means to be? They have the same brain, the same heart, the same emotions as a woman. So I think it has to go beyond just asking, because we will still probably get the same answer. They will say, oh yes, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Because our expectation and our definition of what it means to be a man is strong, resilient, keep going, but that's wrong.
Okay, so I think we our time is we are actually running out of time, and this conversation, I still have a lot of questions. I still have so much to learn, and you guys, thank you so much for coming. But I want you to round up and give your advice to whoever was listening, or what you think they could do probably to avoid depression, because I think we haven't touched that, or what they could do to live a healthy life. To try, of course, things that can be difficult and stuff. You can't really 100% avoid that. But for what you think can be done and will be done, or that they could do to avoid depression or to live a healthier life, irrespective being a man or especially men. Someone says statistically, men have got higher suicidal rate than women. So at least this kind of this advice, like men like Lennon here, who feel less like men when they. I mean, what will be your advice? And this will be our last part in short, and then after that we can just end short. I start with you, Sibongile.
I think we have to, first of all, normalize knowing that it's okay not to be okay. Like, there's nothing unusual, whether you're a man or a woman, that it's okay not to be okay. We all have situations where we are not going to be okay. That everybody once in a while has low mood, stress, and whatnot. And to normalize therapy, I think, especially in our communities, let's normalize therapy. It's okay to go and speak to someone to seek for help. For me, that's really it. Just waking up knowing that it's okay not to be okay sometimes. That just makes it easier for you to speak to someone or go and look for help. Speak to your GP and get some help. Get some help. Don't suffer in silence.
Okay. Yes. We go to you, Lennon.
All right. Thank you so much, Herbert, and thank you to the panelists. I mean, I feel like what Sibongile said, we need to open up as people, and also we need to keep on checking on each other. I mean, the people around us, especially these days especially our children. There's a lot of things happening in schools. We need to check up on them when they come from school, just to find out, like what Uzamile said, we need to check up on them. What happened at school? What did you do? Who did this to you? What did the teacher say? So that tomorrow they will come and then they'll open up to you. Because a lot of cases are where a child is being affected at school, or your wife is being affected at school, but you don't give the option for them to open up. So we just need to normalize opening up and be open to each other. Thank you so much.
Okay. Then we can go to Linda.
I don't think you can avoid depression. So it will happen, it will come. It's managing it, it's picking it up a bit early. The earlier you pick it up, the better. So you can't avoid life, basically. There will be triggers, things will happen, you will get a depressive episode. And like Sibongile is saying, we live through it. We don't, it won't kill you. It will be managed. Yeah.
Okay. Samele, your last parting shot.
For me, I think I can just say, take care of yourselves, and I think allow yourself some time out. You're not obligated to always being strong, because I think that's another thing that at times become an issue, where people feel like the need to always be strong or keep the facade. So allow yourself to some time to yourself, if it means switching off your phone, and just focusing and making sure that you're okay here. Allow that for yourself and speak up. So yeah, thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you, guys. This has been a very great conversation and great interaction. I've learned a lot. Unlike Lennon, I open up. I'm still a man.
Right.
No, open up, guys. It's healthy, that kind of stuff. I think see you next time, and thank you for the panelists that have joined us today. And we kindly ask that you don't log out after we go offline. And for the guys that have been watching us, thank you for your support. Thank you for your contribution. If you haven't answered your question, or if you feel like you want to be on part of the panelists, you can write to us, you can email us, you can inbox us on Facebook, on Twitter, or Instagram. You are welcome to be here. It's conversation for normal people, for Africans in Africa and in the world. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.
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 Thank you.
So